In the past couple of decades, the state of Texas encouraged and incentivized a wind and solar energy boom that brought huge investments here.
The industry in Texas, we have $93 billion invested in the state.
It has made Texas second only to California in solar power production and the dominant leader in wind power production. And more investments in more big renewable energy projects are still planned. But then came this year's Texas legislative session. And you can pick your dire renewable metaphor here, but this meeting of the legislature has brought dark clouds and winds of change.
This is a session where we easily have 2 to 3 times as many bills to address.
That's Jeffrey Clark of the Advanced Power Alliance, which represents clean energy technologies. They're worried by Republican rhetoric and a slate of Republican bills that have made it clear Texas needs more electricity, and it needs to come especially from natural gas. Proposed legislation has taken aim at permits and incentives for renewable energy projects. In fact, one bill would allow the state to reject renewable projects even if a property owner wants turbines and solar panels on the land they own.
What they're doing here is tantamount to what we do in the old Soviet Union, where the government will now decide, well, we believe you ought to, keep farming this property. I don't know when it became the government's business whether I take 100 acres of my land and use it for a solar farm or take 100 acres of my land and use it for cotton. That should be left to private property owners.
Beyond the property rights argument, this is about economics for the state and the people who live here. Natural gas is the biggest source of electricity production in Texas. Electric rates soared last year, in large part because natural gas prices did too. Clark says electricity would be far costlier, though, if more economical solar and wind power wasn't such a big part of the Texas mix.
But we saved consumers over $920 million a month during the last 12 months of the year.
So what happens if Texas takes a hard turn away from wind and solar now? We get into that in the latest episode of yall-itics. This QR code takes you right to it, or you can get it wherever you find your podcasts. In Dallas, I'm Jason Wheeler.